It is day 14 of Whole30. I finished doing a lot of cooking. I've been cooking since maybe 3 or 4 hours, maybe longer. I wanted to start cooking for the week tonight, so I made my sweet potato bread pudding in the muffin tins, muffin paper to go, little sweet potato things. This time I put the dried cranberries in there, and well, I had dried cranberries in there before, but the dried cherries in addition to the dried cranberries and raisins. And I also threw out the other nuts I had because I think they were stale and they were messing with the overall flavor of the last batch. So I definitely tasted all the nuts that I added, which was like almond and pecans and some pistachios. But then when I was tasting the pistachios, I was like, this has pepper in it. These are like salt and pepper pistachios. I don't think I want pepper in my muffins, but I already crushed them up and put them in one batch. So the second batch did not have the pistachios in there. But it's subtle. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference because I didn't put a lot in there to begin with. So I made those. I made lamb chops. I also, I baked them in the oven. I also did my egg frittatas. This time I did still go with the leftover sun-dried tomatoes that I'm not very excited about, but I chopped them up finer, and I think chopping them up finer is also gonna help with the flavor, and I kind of put it in the bottom of the frittata versus it mixed up at the top. So I'm hoping that that's gonna taste better. I put a little bit of the Castro Lavanzo. This is a very long word. Olive. I had some leftover ones. They had the seeds in them, so I didn't get into that jar too much because I like the pitted ones better. But I had a few left, so I chopped those up and took out the seed and put the rest of that in the frittata because I feel like those olives in particular, if someone can just tell me the real name of it, I can never say it. It's like literally like 12 letters in the name of it. It starts with a C. But so I was never able to like pronounce it, but it's a very buttery, very fatty olive. And the brine gives it just enough tart to remind you of cheese. So I put that in there to kind of get that fatty, tart, cheese-like vibe without the cheese by having a really delicious olive in there. And then I added turkey bacon. I added bell peppers and onions into it as well. I seasoned the egg a little. I put a little spice seasoning in the egg mix, and then in the mix of the vegetables and stuff that was in the muffin tins, and I poured the egg over it, all of it. Once I whisked the egg and poured all the eggs all over the muffin tins, and then cooked them. I'm like on 375 for about 20 minutes, and I had 12 egg frittatas ready to go for next week, which obviously will last longer than a week if I'm only eating one a day. It will probably go into the week after, which is great. Yeah, so I also made hash browns, or also known as home fries or country potatoes. So I had bell peppers, onions, and potatoes diced up into like little cubes. Are those called juliennes? What are the little cubes, chopped up things? So I made that those potatoes. I used some of my seasoning from, remember when I was talking about the seasoning from the French fry place and seasoned it, the Cajun seasoning for that. And yes, that's like home fries, lamb chops, egg frittatas, and muffins. I did all four of those things tonight. And not on top of cooking dinner for Darius and making sure that he ate. And also making sure that I ate and as well got him ready for bed, bathed him and everything. So, yeah, I'm tired. I was already tired, but now I'm even more tired. But I'm glad I got all this done so I don't have to do it when I go into the week. And I am still going to need to make a big salad for the week. Here comes my cat. A big salad for the week because, oh no, I'm getting eaten up by the cat. Okay. So I'll still do that. And what else is there to do? I started making my food plan list, my week 2, because as I was putting this sweet potato bread pudding to go thing together, I started to document the ingredients so I can remember how to make it again next time. I also played with putting a little dash of cacao in the batch. I don't think it made much of a difference, but at least it gives it a little color because when using the Japanese sweet potatoes, they're very pale, and so if I want to bring color back into the bread pudding, using the cacao like darkens it, and I kind of like the darkened look to it, like the traditional sweet potato. I did have some leftover sweet potato, orange sweet potato left, so I did mix that into the batter as well, but it was mostly Japanese sweet potatoes this time. So I did get a chance to taste one. My hypothesis was right. Having that nutty, having better quality nuts, fresh nuts, it really made the difference. I think it made that crunch it needed, had a little bit of texture. But when I was grinding my nuts in the coffee grinder, my coffee grinder broke. So I had to pummel the rest of them. And then because it didn't finish grinding. And then for the next batch, I just put them in the blender and did it that way instead. But rest in peace to my coffee grinder. It served me for like a good 10 years. It was Cuisinart. I'm not mad at that. It lived a good life. Because I did put a lot of work on it, because I remember I was going through a point in my life where I was getting so bougie with coffee that I wanted to grind the beans before I put it in the coffee maker to make it super fresh. I remember I was so neurotic. I used to take the pound bag of whole beans from Pete's Coffee. That, by the way, I was getting it mailed to New York because there weren't Pete's Coffees in New York except for one location in Manhattan, which I would travel to sometimes. And so I had a subscription order that was being sent to Brooklyn in whole bean form, and I would take the whole beans, put them in the freezer, and then I would take them out, put them in the coffee grinder, and grind them on demand when I'm ready to do a little pot of coffee. I mean, I just wanted the freshest of the fresh, I guess. Yeah, I now am not that particular. I will drink McDonald's coffee at this point. But don't sleep on McDonald's coffee. McDonald's coffee is actually low key good. It's actually better than I feel like. It's definitely better than Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And the only coffee I like from Starbucks is like Pike Place. But that's a whole nother story. Because I like actual coffee. I don't like a sugary, vanilla-y, flavory, 50 different flavors of sugar, milk, fat, sugar, and then a drip of coffee. I actually can drink coffee black if I had to. And I just don't. I still like to put things in the coffee, but I don't like to put flavors in the coffee because if I put flavors in the coffee, I can't taste the coffee anymore. I can't taste the quality of the coffee. It's like when you have poor quality meat, you just season it a whole lot, so you can't taste the poor quality of the meat. So I like when I get like really quality ingredients. I don't like to over season things because I want the quality of the food itself to shine. This is kind of a little bit like a purist, but and I think part of it is that I learned some of this stuff when I used to work in. I used to do. I used to do. I used to sell like culinary cookware and cutlery and things like that, and having to do cooking demos to showcase the cookware stuff. You learned. I learned a lot about food, especially high end cuisine and ingredients, because they would often like showcase celebrity chefs, and this was at a time period when like Top Chef was big, and just like everyone was kind of watching those reality cooking shows, and really getting into cooking. So it helped me elevate like my understanding of food. And I would like to think that I'm not too pretentious, but the more I talk about food during these 30 days, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a fucking food snob. It's ridiculous. But I'm a secret food snob because I don't, I don't, I'm not like one of those people that's like, you can't take this, you can't take me out to eat because I like hate everything. No, I'm not that person. I will eat an In-N-Out burger and as quickly as I would, do a amuse bouche at like a nice restaurant. Like I can adjust to whatever the culture is at the time, because you can find good food anywhere from on the street to in a high-end restaurant. You find bad food everywhere too. So I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to good flavor, maybe. So I know that sometimes food can become elitist and separatist depending on how you how one treats it. Like, for example, I know at my job they try to offer diverse cuisines, and I noticed that sometimes when they get into like the African cuisines or the African American cuisines, there are a large majority of people who will just skip it altogether and go straight to the salad bar. They're like, I'm not doing that today, and but let it be like pork bun bao or like let it be, you know, um, a shrimp scampi or like a fettuccine or something like that. You know, lines out the door. And I'm like, wow, but this food is good. Have you even tried it before you knocked it? You know, so it's just because it's the culture. It's just you just maybe it's an assumption that it's gonna be spicy, but then some of the Asian food is spicy too. So I don't know. Yeah, for some reason, when it comes to the black culture food, they skip it and they don't want to even try it, and they go straight to the salad bar. I said, hey, shit, more for me. They had jerk chicken. The jerk chicken was good. They didn't like it. I loved it. They had collard greens. No, it's not your kale. It's collard greens. And they're nutritious. And they're delicious. Um, so I feel like there is a low-key elitist around ingredients um, based on whose culture is coming from. Until, you know, when the popular culture decides that it's in, then it becomes in. You know, you know how it goes when they discover stuff. It's a wrap. It gets exploited and turned inside out. And I was like, no, just leave it alone. It was fine just the way it was. You know. I'm way over. I just went on a rant and forgot about time, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to bed. It's very late. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I got to go to church, and I'm helping the children's church tomorrow. But I'm glad I got this done, so I will leave it at that. Good night.